Right, so welcome back. Our next presentation is from Neil Whitaker from Mercury Holidays. So I'd like to introduce Neil. He's long-standing clients, and we've helped with a range of different technology over the years. And Neil's going to share how he's able to really support this change that we've seen in the marketplace. So thriving business to no business surviving to becoming stronger with Inbox. So you'll get to hear about what Inbox is and how we've worked together to help. So Neil, over to you.
Thank you very much. I hope you can all still hear me. Internet's working. All good. So good morning, everyone. Last on this morning. Just like to start by thanking everyone at Britannic for putting so much effort into making the Convention Summit still possible this year. I've attended, John said, for the past 6 years. We've been working together. And although the travel industry normally approaches its quiet time towards the back end of the year, I always find it really good to come to the Convention Summit to find some new ideas, hear other people talk, give myself some energy for the last couple of months of the year, and take that into the new year with helping the guys here work the best they can with our customers. That said, I'm going to miss the free lunch and raffle today, but we'll come on to that later, I'm hoping. So I'm Neil. I've been working at Mercury Holidays for 6 years, and my current role is head of IT. It's a family-run business which specialises in package holidays and escorted tours worldwide and European. And in a normal year, we would normally send 70,000 passengers on average abroad. However, this year, typically in our 40th anniversary, we're going to struggle to reach 22,000 passengers, I think. And we're currently budgeting for somewhere between 15 and 20,000 passengers in the coming year. So this is going to be the first year that we're making a loss. And with the average age of our customer being 72, it's not only the current climate that we're fighting against, it's customer confidence in travel in general, and fighting against the government, obviously, to hopefully get some testing in place so we can send some customers on holiday again and make some money and spend it with Britannic and some other people. So we're trying to find ways to communicate with our customers other than by post, which is how they like to do it, email and phone call. But we're getting there. So when I saw the theme for today, I thought it's great. I'll just show one slide of people sat in remote locations. And I caught the end of the gentleman before there. People get lonely. So yeah, I thought we'll just show one slide. People at desks, that's a distributed workforce. And everyone's just working like that now, right? But then I reflected and thought, if we hadn't implemented what we did over the past 6 years, some with Britannic and some without Britannic, going fully remote with just 2 weeks' notice from the government would have been impossible. And it's amazing when you look back how we ended up in a position to be fully working remotely without appreciating the position we were in. Why was this? Probably the culture of this company and many others, I'm guessing. Working from home certainly didn't exist here. Can only assume that's trust. How do we monitor our staff? Are they working hard enough? All the usual concerns. And I totally get that. But then I asked myself, does a distributed workforce just need to be human-based? With funds drying up, needing to become lean, but maintaining the integrity of the business, surely a distributed workforce could include maybe a chatbot or a ticketing system that can learn requests and attempt to triage at the initial point. Why not? So this morning, I'm going to be hopefully brief and not bore too many people, but I'm going to do my best to demonstrate our journey to where we are today. Started back in 2014. I'd just joined this company, and Britannic was the first technology partner I got to work with when I was here. So we started by moving from a digital system to a SIP, an IP platform, being the Avaya IP 500. It's quite good because even back then, we were already working towards being able to work remotely. This gave us access to things like soft phones, which meant we could just start to employ home workers or send staff home, be a bit more flexible. As I said, that didn't really exist typically until now, when it's forced upon you. And then changing RSD into SIP lines, call quality, cheaper costs, nothing to rave about. Then we moved to our hosted solution. So we always had an on-site PBX. It was naturally good to move that to a data center, gave us more resilience. Again, enabled us to connect from anywhere really, without the need of coming back to this office with a VPN if we wanted to. So again, we're already working towards being a workforce in remote locations. Next, we added a contact center, obviously using Britannic. This was a skills-based routing contact center. This gave us powerful reporting, the ability to prioritize calls based on rules and lots more, therefore offering a better customer experience. So it wasn't just part of a digital transformation, it was working towards our customer excellence that we wanted to achieve as well. It's important to note that, you know, we built an all singing, dancing contact center, but only really at this point implemented call prioritization, because that was the one major thing that we didn't have at the time. And it's good to learn to walk before you can run. So the first thing we wanted to tackle was prioritizing calls, sales calls preferably, so we can get that money in, and then based on the customers' value to us, you can get them to the top of the queue quicker, or if they're traveling within days of calling you, you want to get them to the top because it's more likely to be a bit of an emergency. Disaster recovery, DR. We obviously took a project throughout this journey to look at that, and it's not exciting, but by reviewing this, we were naturally again enabling ourselves to become remote workers. Simple things such as in the contact center, changing from computers to laptops. Laptops had all the soft phones, so we turned our internal workers into remote workers within the office, and it was just a matter of getting up, taking your equipment, and off you go. That gave us the flexibility to do that. Simple things, but we was always working towards being remote without realizing it. CRM, quite amazing. We a company of 40 years of age, hundreds of thousands of people on their distribution lists, and we didn't have a CRM. It was chaotic. We had mailing lists over here, mailing lists over there, online, offline mailing lists, no view of the customer. It's amazing how we were being profitable in the modern day without actually really understanding our customers. Yeah, can't really explain that one. Business intelligence, BI tools, big part of what we've done. Again, that was linking that up to all the previous systems to start to gather data and start to understand how people are contacting us, what the agent efficiency is in the contact center, how many calls we're receiving based on campaigns that we're doing, and actually for once being able to make some proper business decisions based on the actual intelligence that we were gathering. Quite a new world to us. And then comes where we are today with the latest bit of technology, the smart inbox. And this was really, we've got all our systems in place in the background now, but how can we bring all those systems into one place and give our customers the best experience of customer service that we can, and our agents, whether they're in the office, at home, on holiday, working, I expect that here, give them all the tools to be able to work wherever they are, and give our supervisors and directors the tools to give them the peace of mind that they can see what our agents are doing, when they're doing it, how they're doing it, and put their mind at rest that this working at home isn't so bad, although I do like being in the office. Right, I'm going to jump forward to So March this year, the dreaded COVID strikes, the dreaded second C. So question comes my way. Can the contact centre function from a director? I was like, well, this is where we learn that everything we'd done for the past 6 years built up to this point where I could just give quite a simple answer. Yes, the contact centre can continue to function at home. These guys just need to pick their laptops up with an instruction of how to connect to a VPN back to this office, and home they go. Can we assign work effectively? Well, at this point, we hadn't quite implemented the inbox. We were in discussions. Well, we had, but I'm going to go backwards in a minute. So can we assign work effectively? Yes, we can, because we had now in March the inbox where we had all the work coming into one place, monitored, assigned, SLAs, complete coverage. I've jumped ahead of myself there, but yeah, can we monitor workload? Yes, we can monitor workload. We've got our BI tools in place. We've got our SLAs in place. We've got our ticketing system in place. We really don't need to do it anymore, apart from work out how we're going to, as previously mentioned in a previous discussion, how can we do our daily team chats? How can we keep the team together and motivated? Well, that's quite straightforward. You've got Office 365, you've got Teams. So each team set up their morning call 10 minutes before, discuss the day before, any problems they had can be highlighted, and the day and motivate everyone for the day ahead. For department community, I keep pressing the button after I'm talking, but you get the gist. Continued staff training. How can we continue to monitor calls remotely, listen to calls, give training, and educate our staff so that we're giving that consistency across the business, whether we are in the office or at home. I mean, it's much easier to monitor somebody in the office. You can walk around and listen to them on the call. If you don't like what they're hearing, what they're saying, you can have a review meeting with them. But great, the contact center or our call recording software that I didn't mention previously that we've got. Each of those allows live monitoring. One just allows to listen, and then you can review after. The other, the contact center, the supervisor has the ability to listen to a call, but also use a feature called Whisper. Now, it's quite scary when you're on the phone to a customer. I've tried it, and you've got the customer you're talking to, and then you've got somebody whispering in your other ear telling you how to respond and things like that. But it's a piece of technology that we already had. It was there. We could continue to train our staff remotely. Keep service levels with less agents. Obviously, at the time, we didn't envisage having to use furlough. We didn't think, like most people, it would be around for that long. As the first month went by, workloads extremely high, thousands and thousands of people wanting their money back. Obviously, we can't keep up with this, but as we're refunding in the first 2 or 3 months, somewhere around about £10 million, there comes a point when you have to take use of the furlough scheme. So now we're trying to service all of those with less agents. Again, didn't become a problem because, again, because of what we'd just implemented weeks before COVID struck, we were able to use the smart inbox to prioritize work and things. But I'll come on to that as we move through. So an introduction to inbox. We engaged with Britannic coming up. Well, it's a year. We engaged with Britannic about our latest problems, and that was around customer service we was giving. As I said, with all the systems are in place to get the calls in, get the money in, everything else we want to do, but customer service, it was failing. We didn't have a clue on how many requests were coming in, whether we were dealing with them in an appropriate time. Were the resolutions any good for customers? Were we getting multiple callbacks? And all of this really needed addressing if you're going to go to more of a remote work environment. It's bad enough in an office when you've got people sticking their hands up every 3 minutes asking questions to supervisors because they've got an inquiry coming into the intranet, or they've got 2 mailboxes they're monitoring, depending on if it's a sale or if it's an aftercare inquiry. So we really needed to work out how we could get all that into one streamlined approach to, if anything, help the agents out and stop them from going insane. No single view of a customer. It's impossible to help somebody fully if you don't understand why that customer is contacting you, or the seriousness of what's happening. So, and that's something our agents fed back to us. They don't really know who they're talking to when they obviously either answer the phone or they're dealing with a ticket, and they'd like to know if there's any other outstanding queries other than the one they're dealing with, because they could just wrap them all up at the same time. Case is closed. Much better customer service. The other thing I've mentioned it, but we didn't know why we were being contacted, and it got to the point where we was asking staff every time they took a call to put something onto a spreadsheet. A call, the time they took the call, why they took the call, what was the problem, what was the resolution. They're spending more time, calls are queuing, emails are building up. They're spending more time writing down for us what they're doing, so that we can gather some intelligence and try and put some things in place to help them. Again, how quickly we're responding was another thing we brought up with Britannic. We need some help. We need to know why we're being contacted, how quickly we're responding. Are we responding soon enough? Are we closing the ticket in a reasonable time? And then can we provide a more personal experience to that customer? So as the agent said, and I've already mentioned, giving them a view, so when they're inside the ticket, they know who they're talking to, they can see the history of that customer, the bookings that they've had, the quotes that they've currently got live. Maybe they might be phoning up to ask a question about a current holiday, but they could have booked another one into the future, already done a quote for somewhere in the future. We could get our customer experience agent to nip that quote in the bud if they can see an open one there and then. So it's being more efficient. We're being contacted about one thing, but can we deal with all the other things at the same time? And then we turn up at Convergence Summit last year to meet Alex and Dirk and Saffron to discuss everything we discussed over the phone to work out the next steps. I put that up a bit too soon, but that's why I was looking forward to the raffle, because I got pulled out. So instead of going there to discuss all this, I actually spent the time going around the track for a good 30 minutes whilst two of my colleagues were there trying to work out the plan going forward. I come back just as the meeting wrapped up. Obviously didn't bother me that much. I was doing personal bests from the year before, so no problem there. But moving on to the conversations went well. We worked out a plan. Al and Dirk both come up with the inbox solution. It's something new they were working on, and something we was quite keen to learn about. But it's basically an inbox, and you think, well, why can't you just use Outlook and things like that? But this allows us to work from one inbox, but having multiple sources of inquiries coming in. So we now send them from our website to this inbox. We've got all our email addresses coming into this inbox, but it allows us to have our business process in front of the agents. By, instead of using an email, the email creates a ticket. Tickets created based on the ticket types we create and the expressions we use. So we're looking for keywords in subjects or body, or if we're doing a campaign. A good example would be we had to contact all of our customers we had an email address for regarding disclaimers if they still wanted to travel. No previous way of doing that before. Sent out an email from the inbox using a specific email address, put some rules in place for something simple like disclaimer in the subject. They reply, it goes into that column. We want to prioritize those because we want to know the customers that want to travel. And we want to prioritize them so we can get the disclaimer signed and we can keep them traveling. That's just one example of how throughout COVID and going forward, working remotely, we can it doesn't matter where we are, that the guys can see the overall workload now, and the supervisors can create new expressions, create new rules, and really monitor how many tickets we've actually got open for a change and what the status of those tickets are, and build SLAs around maybe ticket type. You want to get cancellations a little bit further down the line, but amendments we want to prioritize because we want to keep people's bookings. Or if there's a payment query, we want to look at that. New quotes coming in, we can prioritize. So there's a complete control for the supervisors sat at home now, controlling how their staff are working throughout the day. Again, the second one picture at the bottom there is the single view that we've started to build in. This is only phase one, but this is a view within inside a ticket, and we can see all the interactions there. We can see who it's assigned to. There's comments in there, attachments. But on the right hand side, we've actually hooked it up to our CRM, and when they go into a ticket, that little panel on the right hand side will match the email address if we have them in our CRM, and pull up all the history of that customer. Now they can use that when they're inside a ticket or on the phone. They can simply type the number in, or an email address or a booking reference, and it will find that customer, so they can find out who they're talking to on the phone. As I say, it's phase one. We're going to start looking at making the screen pop when calls are answered, but at the moment that's agile. That's phase one. We'll move to phase two, and we'll move to phase three, and eventually we'll get to exactly where we want to be. Coming on to one of the challenges of working remotely, and why we probably weren't allowed to do it was reporting. As I say, we've got Avaya, and we get great data out of that. We've got our reservation system, we've got our bookings going into CRM, and our quotes. We've got tickets, emails, and everything coming into the smart inbox now, and we can now see what our agents are doing, depending on whether it's tickets or phone calls. It's very powerful, and it just gives that peace of mind to directors and people like that they don't need to make any further cuts, or we need more people when things pick up. It's something that we've not been able to report on, but it's all quite simple. It's all based on SLAs and performance, and as you can see, they're not great pictures, I'm sorry, but the screens are, I'm trying to make them as big as I can without going mad, but the big one on the right hand side is a complete overview of everyone in the contact center and their activity on the phone, their activity codes. So they've got codes for if they're working on tickets or if they're working on quotes. So we can use the phone system to actually, when they're not taking calls, they can put themselves on an activity code that tells the supervisor when they report that actually they weren't taking any calls at that point because they were working on tickets, or they were working on quotes, or they were working on amendments, whatever the work assigned is. And this tells us, it's a bit big brotherish, and they probably don't like it, but it helps run the business a lot smoother. As in, are we overstaffed at the moment? We're used to hundreds of calls coming in a day, and we're seeing 50 calls coming in a day at the moment. So getting the staffing levels right at the moment is quite critical, because it needs to be extremely lean to survive. Hence the reason investing in the technology to survive. And if we come out the other end, which we believe we will with our forecasting, then I think we're only going to get stronger with all these tools that we've already. I better speed up here. Sorry, Jonathan. Where to next? So as I say, it's an ongoing project. As I said, chatbot. That's something we're going to look at. That can become part of our distributed workforce. It can take pressure off of our lean staffing numbers now, and in a customer service point. But as we've been discussing, why can't it be a sales agent as well? Why can't it start looking at inquiries and pulling out numbers from our reservation system and actually quoting people for the specific holiday that they've asked for through filling out a form online and things like that. a knowledge center, internal and external. If we hook a chatbot up to an external knowledge center, we can start to or endpoints through CRM or reservation system. We can start to get the ticketing system or the chatbot to answer people's queries. Or WhatsApp. We intend to have all of this coming into the smart inbox and hopefully one day triaging tickets from customers. Social media, again, Facebook, we are present on there, but it's an independent thing. It'd be nice to get the customer experience people actually selling through social media or the chatbot talking back. Again, customer experience is key. We still don't really understand what our customers think of the service they're getting. We don't have anything after phone calls or on the websites and things like that. So again, once we start understanding things like that, it's going to enable us to find out what our customers do and don't like about how we're treating them. And that could be because we are too distributed and we're not able to monitor the staff as effectively as we think we can with all the things we're bringing in, and we need to keep a closer eye on things, or they could be extremely happy. We don't know, but we will do. And I believe I'm a couple of minutes over time, so I'm just rabbiting on. Yeah, I don't know if you're there, Jonathan.
Yeah, thank you very much, Neil. So very, very interesting. It's a fair old journey that we've been through together, and already delivered quite a bit of transformation. And I think the important piece that you talked about there is the agile approach. Don't try and bore the ocean. Look at the problems as you go, deliver improvement, and it's a continuous evolution towards that vision. And of course, over time, as we've seen, we're all throwing these curveballs, and we've got to react, and we've got to plan accordingly. So yeah, really great to hear the story, Neil, about how we've worked together from your own perspective, and how it's benefited the business. So yeah, really thank you very much. Really appreciate it, and yeah, great presentation. So any questions that we've got in the chat? No, I think it might almost be an early lunch for you, Neil. I think
I've got to pay for this one, though.
It's terrible, isn't it? And as you said, there won't be any driving around the track today. If you go on the roads in the car, keep to the speed limit, Neil. No breaking records today. But yeah, thank you so much for your presentation. Really insightful. Great to hear the story of what we've done together, and yeah, I really appreciate it. So what we'll do is I think we're going to take an opportunity now to we'll break for a long lunch, and please do visit the exhibitors' booths. Go and see the technology that's on show. Go and talk to people. Get some get some input if you've got particular problems or questions that you've got. Please do pose them. We're here to help. It's an interesting format for us all to be doing this, but we really appreciate the support of partners and customers, and people attending the sessions over the next 3 days. So we want you to get the most out of it. Please do interact, and we're here to help. So thank you very much. I hope you have a great lunch break. Enjoy the coffee, the tea and the biscuits, and we'll see you at 2:00 for the next presentation. Thank you.